Hi guys, good morning, and today we are going to talk about the best QA automation practices and what at all we need to take care when we are going to automate test suits. Okay, so there are number of things which we need to take care that. Okay, so the first things I would like to note down that uh, independent test. Okay, so what does it means, right? What do we mean by independent tests? So most of the time what we do when we write a test case, right, we do have a dependency of one test case of, okay, another test case. Means one test case A will do something and then only the test case B should be executed. So like that sometimes we write our automation test, and that is not a good practice, because sometimes when we add that depend on methods, right, say attribute on the in the test annotations, right, sometimes we cannot guarantee the sequence, right, and we cannot guarantee that the first test case, yeah, dependent test case will be the pass actually, right? So what will happen because of the failure of the test case A, the B will also get failed. Okay, so just to we should avoid such practices. So better is write down the test cases independently, so each and every test cases will have individual task or some specific verifications, okay, and that test need to be performed. Okay, so that is the first thing. Okay, the second thing, maybe you would have noticed that sometimes what we do most of the time in the web applications or the mobile applications, when you do the automations, what we do at the suite level, or you can say at the class level, we launch a browser or the screen. Okay, and all the other test cases, they do all the verifications on all the user journey we performs on the same screens. Okay, so once the screens will open, and then WebDriver will open, and then we perform all the activities. Again we go to the home screens, and then again the next test case will get execute, and then it will perform his journey from the home screens. But this is not a very good practice. Okay, and and generally we face, definitely there is a sub advantages that we save a time, because launching any screens and closing it and logging it definitely take a lot of times consume. So definitely if we are just launching a screens and all the test cases are sharing, definitely save our time. But when we scale our applications and then we think, okay, now it's a time for parallel execution, at that time whatever the arrangement we have done, right, then it's come back to us and all the test cases started failing. Okay, so better to avoid such practice. So okay, so we need to so here don't use common screen for all test, launch F every time for each test. Okay, third thing is the avoid hard coding. Okay, this thing also we need to practice it, that we should avoid any hard coding in the test cases level, that in case of actual or expected outputs, better just create a test repository and the class files, and declare all the the test data as a final and constant, okay, and then we can use, or we can use the properties files. We can read from the any files like anything, okay, for Excel and XML, where from wherever are JSON files. If you want to read, you can read from JSON file, or if you want to read from the databases, read from databases, but don't hard code, okay. The problem is that if you want to do the changes, you need to, suppose if you have 1,000 test cases, the same thing you need to change at 1,000 places, right? So at least you have, if you have stored your test data at one place, just you have to change at that particular place, and it will reflect everywhere, okay. So it will help you into the maintenance purpose also, right? So it will help, okay, in test maintenance, okay. So now the fourth point is no priorities of test. Just avoid, actually I'm just setting up the priorities for the test cases. This is a priority 0, 1, priority 2, and that order if you wants to execute. Generally, if once you run the test ng, generally it doesn't happen that it's running in very sequential fashion, okay. So better to avoid those writing up priorities, okay. And the fifth is max 2 assertion, okay, for each test case. So maximum write down 2, or maybe it's not a hard first rule that only 2 you can write down, maybe 2 or 3, but don't write, sometimes we write 5, 8, 9 assertion. Yes, better if you have so many validation you have to do, so it's better you can do in the separate test cases, okay. So okay, and generally avoid it, okay, as much as possible. If really it is required, then yeah, maybe you can do it, but the number should be very less, okay. The sixth point is a very important point, that we cannot automate each and everything, you know, in any application, right? So first, before jumping for any automations, first analyze the application, see the application behavior, how it is behaving, what is the performance of each and every screens or page load, okay. And if you are doing the API automation, see what is the performance of API, check, visualize that, right? How much visualize it, how much it is easy to automate, okay. And sometimes we see that even for some flow, the manual execution is very tedious task. So if manual execution is very tedious for any flow, then how can we think that we can automate? Even though if we'll automate also, there are chances that after some times those test cases will start failing, and again we need to put effort to fix the test cases, okay. Okay, so we do the automations to reduce a manual effort, but if we are keep on fixing some set of test cases every time, then in my view we are not getting any ROI from those test cases, okay. It's better to do the manual test cases, do the manual testing only for such scenarios, okay. So don't take an ego that you cannot automate, automate all the or if it is 100 test cases manual, so you cannot automate all the hundreds. No, it's not at all possible. You see the feasibility of all the 100 test cases, just short it out, see the feasibility, what at all you can automate, okay, easily. Then you can prioritize what at all you can automate easily, then those test cases you can pick up first, automate it, then take a little bit harder one, okay. And if such test case you feel okay, yeah, definitely it's not feasible, just leave it at, okay. And those scenarios you can do the manual, okay, for each and every release, okay. So don't try to automate all test cases, do feasibility analysis, okay. The seventh point I would like to what I'd like to bring is always try to use see, it's not like a testing, it's we are writing a codes, okay, and the code should be like a as our developer writes, okay. So use all the oops concept, okay, wherever possible, okay, the solid principle, okay, right, and okay, that's it, okay. And if you wants to use and design pattern where we are wherever it's suitable. So in case of design patterns, right, don't simply just you want to use some singleton, or if you want to use a factory or observer pattern, don't push it, okay. No, if you want to use, you are going to use, no, if really it's required, then use it, otherwise just leave it, okay. Make it simple, your codes, don't make it complicated, okay. And now what is the next, okay. And see, one more thing, so most of the times we uses a third-party library, right, for our test cases. So better is create some abstraction layer, create abstraction over third-party tool, or you can say the library, okay. It will be give you in the maintenance time, it will give you, it will be easy for you to maintain the code, okay. Now okay, now what else we can do, okay. And then we should have a same proper code review process, okay. If you are writing, don't code review process, do the peer review, okay. Do the peer review or send this code to reviewed by your lead, okay. And once it get reviewed, then only just merge in your GitHub, okay. Implement okay. And one more thing, implements CI/CD. So what will happen, okay, once your test is ready, just integrate your test cases to your the dev pipelines, okay. And if any times the dev will push their codes, your it should trigger your test cases, okay, and it should validate, okay, whatever the changes the developer has done, okay. And if any if regression is failing, then they should get notified. You can notify it via the mail, or maybe if you are using any communication channels like Slack, just notified on the Slack only, okay. Send the reports to each and every stakeholders, okay. These are the status. You can schedule a test your pipelines, so the people will see the test result, the status of your applications or the product, okay. Means how many test cases are getting pass, fails, all those things, okay. So those things we need to keep in our mind. So implement CI/CD, schedule test job, and send test and send test report, okay, to all stakeholders, right. What else we can also do to improve this are automations, you can say the process, or you can say the things, okay, to make it better, okay. And yes, what else, yeah, one more thing, don't use try, catch, block, okay, to consume error. Okay, this what happened, most of the times we use this, sometimes we use by mistake this try catch block, and if any exceptions occurs, this catch block will consume it, and it doesn't show us what's happened actually in the backgrounds, right? So it's better throw the exceptions here, throw the exception, okay, and handle it testing layer. Okay guys, so yeah, so these are the things which I wanted to discuss today, and please let me know whether it was helpful or not, and let me know if you have any questions. We can work on that. Yeah, thank you, thanks guys, thank you very much.